Welcome back to the classes of structure analysis 1. In the last video we have seen the unit load method for the beams. In this video we will learn the analysis of the stresses, finding the member forces of the stresses by using the unit load method. Since for the analysis of the deflections of the beam by the unit load method, we have derived the equation, that is delta equals to, that is deflection of the beam is equals to integration of PE into dV. So this was the strain energy which we have derived in our first video, where P dash is the stress induced due to the unit loads and E is the strain due to the applied load. So by using this equation we will be applying it for the stresses, and in the case of pin jointed frames there is only type of stresses, that is direct stress, because in the stress matter members bending moment will not be there, only axial forces will be acting it. The axial forces will be either tension or the compression forces. So due to the tensile forces or compressive forces, the stresses induced in the member are called as the direct stresses, and this stress may be different in different members, but it is constant at all the points in the members, and hence if we integrate our strain energy for all the members of the stresses, it is nothing but the summation of the direct stresses of the each of the member. So here the integration of P dash E into V is equals to summation of PE into AL, where AL represents the volume, that is A represents the cross section area of the member and L represents the length of the member. So A into L is nothing but the volume of the member, and in the same way P dash will represents the direct stresses caused due to the unit load, and sigma represents the sum of all the direct stresses induced in the members of the stresses on the application of the unit load. So therefore we can say that the direct stress P dash is equals to K by A, where K is the force in the member due to the unit load and E is the strain due to the given loads. So by using our equation of Hooke's law, it says that the stress is directly proportional to the strain till the elastic limit, and from that principle we have derived that the strain is equals to E is equals to P by A, that is our stress divided by Young's modulus E. So if we derive it, our equation will be P by AE, where P is the force in the member due to the given loads and A is the cross sectional area, E is the Young's modulus of the member. So the deflection equation delta will be equals to K by A, that is the stress, direct stress due to the unit load applied, and strain is P by AE and the volume is A into L. So our final equation will be PKL by AE. If I take the PL by AE ratio, it is nothing but it is the elongation or the shortening of the member, that is the strain in the member, whether it may be the elongation or will be the shortening of the member, and that is represented by delta L. So finally our equation is reduced to delta equals to summation of K into delta L, and by using this equation and applying for each and every member of this stress, we will be analyzing the stresses. So for that, let us take a problem. Find the vertical deflections of the joint B in the stress loaded as shown in the figure. The cross section area of the member is in mm square, and those are shown in the brackets or in the circles. So take the Young's modulus for all the members as 200 kilonewton per mm square. So this is the stress which is given for us. It is loaded by the load of 120 kilonewton. and we are required to calculate the deflection at the point B. The areas of each and every member are shown in the circles, and this you are in the mm square. So all the data are being given for us, and we are required to calculate the deflection of the stress at the point B. So here is the free body diagram, or the diagram which is showing the reactions at the support. Since this stress does not have any horizontal force acting on it, so horizontal reaction at support A will be 0. 120 kilonewton load is acting exactly at the center of the stress. If I take this section of the stress passing through the center over here, the left part is mirror image of the right part. So the reactions at support A and support C will be the equals to half of the total load. So total load is 120, 120 divided by 2 is 60. So the reaction RA is equals to 60 kilonewton and reaction RC is equals to 60 kilonewton. So we have calculated our reactions, and we are required to calculate the displacement at the point B. So here we will be applying our unit force, 1 kilonewton force. So from the first figure we will be calculating the values of, from this figure we will be calculating the values of force P, or that is force in each member of the stress due to the external load, and in the from the second figure we will be calculating the value of the K, that is stress due to the unit point load acting at the point B. So now let us start it. From the joint A, we can say that the member AD will be having the force equals to 60 kilonewton. We can use the method of joints and we can calculate the force. So at the joint A, we will be having the 3 forces. So if I draw the diagrams, so at the joint A, we are having 3 forces. One is our reaction RA, one is the member force AB, and one is the member force AD. So this reaction we have already got it as 60 kilonewton. So the opposite member, or the member which is opposite to the reaction, it carries the same load. Since there is no inclined member, so the load will not be distributed over here. So there is no member, so there will be no load. So only 2 members are there. And since the horizontal force reaction is 0, so this member have the 0 force in the member, and the member in the opposite our reaction is 60 kilonewton. So it will be the compressive force. In the same way, if we consider the joint D, so at the joint D we are having 3 members, that is DE, DB and DA. DA already we have calculated, it was 60 kilonewton. So solving this joint D, we will be having the equations, or by using our equations of equilibrium, that is summation H equals to 0 and summation V equals to 0, we can calculate that the force in the member PDE is equals to 60 kilonewton and the force in the member EB is equals to 120 kilonewton. So for other portions, since it is a symmetrical stress, so we can directly write the values. So for other portions, symmetricity is made use, and of magnitude and nature of the forces are noted. So the tensile forces are taken as positive and compressive forces are taken as negative. So for the second figure, that is where at the point B where we applied the unit load, so the reactions at the support A and C will be half of the load, so it will be 0.5 kilonewton. In the same way as we done for the first truss or the first figure, we have taken the joints and we have calculated the member forces. So again for the joint A, we will be having the force in the member AD equals to 0.5 kilonewton. Force in the member AB will be 0, and from the joint D, by using our equations of equilibrium and resolving the member BD in horizontal and vertical directions, and by using our equilibrium conditions, we find that the force in the member BE is equals to 0.5 kilonewton, FBD is equals to 0.5 root 2, and from the joint E we will get that the force in the member BE is equals to 0. Again, by using our symmetry of the truss, the values will be written down with the directions, and it is tabulated in the table as shown over here. So for the member AB, the length of all the members are 4 meters. So if I convert into mm, it will be 4000. Areas according to the member, it is been noted down as shown over here. And the forces, P force, that is the force in the member due to the external loads. Whatever the forces we have calculated, all the forces have been noted over here. And K force are the forces due to the application of the unit load at the joint B. So all the forces are being noted down for each and every member. So our equation for the deflection of the stress is given as delta equals to summation of PKL by AE. So here we are required to calculate the products, that is P into K into L divided by AE, and the values are noted over here. So this column gives us the values of the P force due to the external force. This values gives the forces value due to the application of the unit load. So by taking the product PKL upon AE, these are the values which will be obtaining it, and adding all the values we get the total deflection, that is delta equals to summation of PKL upon AE, and it is found to be 2.078 mm. So in this way we will be calculating the deflection at the given point by applying the unit load at that point. In the same way, let us solve another problem. The problem states that determine the vertical deflection of the point D in the stressor as shown in the figure. The cross section area of the members AD and DE are 1500 mm square, while those of the other members are 1000 mm square. Take the Young's modulus E is equals to 200 kilonewton per mm square. So this is the stress, a cantilever stress, which is subjected a point load of 60 kilonewton at the free end of the stress, that is at the joint C, and we are required to calculate the deflection of the stress at the point D. So at the point D, we will be applying our unit load 1 kilonewton by removing all the forces of the stresses. So first we calculate the value of the force P, that is due to the 60 kilonewton force, what are the forces in the each member of the stress. So for that we consider the equilibrium of the joint C. We draw the free body diagram of the joint C. So by drawing the free body diagram of the joint C, the member BC is an inclined member and it has the angle theta, and angle theta is calculated as tan inverse of opposite is 4, adjacent is 3. So 4 by 3, tan inverse of 4 by 3. So that will be 45, sorry, we are required to calculate it. So by taking it, we will be having the angle theta, and if we resolve the force FBD and along the horizontal direction, it will be cos theta, and if we resolve in vertical direction, it will be sin theta. So in applying the equations of equilibrium, that is summation H equals to 0 and summation V equals to 0, we find that the force in the member CB is equals to 75 kilonewton and CD is equals to 45 kilonewton. In the same way, going for the joint B, by method of joints we will be calculating the all the forces members. So for drawing the free body diagram for the joint B, here we are having the three forces AB, BD and BC. Already we have calculated BC, that is equals to 75 kilonewton. So again applying our equations of equilibrium, summation H and summation V equals to 0, we find that the force FBD is equals to 60 kilonewton and the force BA is equals to 45 kilonewton. In the same way, we draw the free body diagram for the joint D. At the joint D, we are having the four forces DE, BD, AD and CD. So CD and BD already known, only AD and DE is to be calculated. Draw the free body diagram for this joint, resolve the forces, apply the equations of equilibrium and find the forces in the members. Now we will be applying the unit load at the given point, that is at the point D. So applying the 1 kilonewton force at the point D, by our usual logic we can say that the force in the member DC and DE will be equals to 0. The force in the member, it cannot be equals to 0. We require to resolve the forces or the members in the perpendicular directions. So at the joint D, if we take the angles and resolve it, we find that the force in DA member will be DE will be equals to 105 kilonewton and the force in the member DA is equals to 16 to root 2 kilonewton. So K forces due to the unit loads at the point D. So referring this figure, that is our second figure, and if we draw the free body diagram for the joint C and for the joint B. So at the joint C there is no forces acting it. So here this member force is 0 and this member force is 0. In the same way, if you go for the joint B, already with this force we have to know that it is 0. So the force in this member will be 0 and this is also will be equals to 0, since there are no forces acting on the joints or in any of these members. So at the joint D we are having 1 kilonewton force, already this force is 0 and this force is 0. So at joint D these two forces are 0, we are required to calculate only these two members. So by taking the resolutions of the forces and writing our equations of equilibrium, we find that the forces are 16 to root 2 kilonewton and 105 kilonewton. The values will be tabulating it in the columns as shown over here. For the members from AB, BC, CD, DE, DB and DA, lengths are being given, areas are given, the forces in the member due to the external load, that is called as the P force, and forces in the member due to the 1 kilonewton load acting at the point D, that is nothing but K forces. So taking the multiplications of the values PKL upon AE for each member and taking this total sum of the last column, so it gives us that deflection delta is equals to summation of PKL upon AE, that is equals to 732.55. So this is only the PKL upon A. So now we will be dividing our value by the Young's modulus E, and we find that the deflection at D is equals to 3.66 mm. Let us solve the another one problem. So here there is a stress which is a pin jointed stress with a single load W equals to 100 kilonewton. If the cross section area of all the members is 1000 mm square, what is the vertical deflection of the point C? So we are required to calculate the deflection at the point C when there is a 100 kilonewton force acting at the point D. Since the stress is symmetrical but the loading is unsymmetrical for the stress, so we are required to calculate our reactions RA and RB by using our equilibrium condition. So RA plus RB equals to 100 kilonewton, and by taking our second equation, that is summation m equals to 0, we calculate the reaction RB. So taking the moment at support A, RB into distance is 8, it gives us anti-clockwise, so minus RB into 8 plus 100 into 2, so this distance will be 2 meters. So solving this equation, we find that the reaction RB will be equals to 25 kilonewton and RA will be equals to 75 kilonewton. So by using our method of joints, we will be finding the forces in each member. So drawing our free body diagram or taking the equilibrium of the joint A, we find that the forces in the member AD is equals to 86.6 kilonewton and force in the member AC is equals to 43.3 kilonewton. In the same way, we will be calculating the member forces for all the members and it will be tabulated in the column over here as shown it. Okay. So in the same way, when we apply a 1 kilonewton force at the point C, since the stress is symmetrical and the load is also acting at the center of the stress, so the reaction will be half of the load. So the reactions are 1 by 2 is nothing but 0.5 kilonewton. So now taking the equilibrium of each and every joint and applying our joint method, we will be calculating the member forces due to the 1 kilonewton load, and these forces are called as K forces. So for the joint D, if we apply our equilibrium conditions, we find that the force PDC is equals to 28.87 kilonewton and force in the member PDE is equals to 28.87 kilonewton. In the same way, for the joint B and applying the equilibrium conditions, we find that the force in the member PB is equals to 28.87 and BC is equals to 14.43 kilonewton. So these are the P forces for the stress for the first stress. Now by applying the unit load at the point C, reaction is 0.5, so the K forces is found for the member AD is 0.577 and AC is 0.288. In the same way, for the joint D, it is found to be 0.577 and DE is also equals to 0.577. So values for all the members are being tabulated over here, and by using our formula, deflection equals to summation of PKL upon AE. So since the length is same for all the members, so we keep the constant term L out of the summation bracket, and area for all the members is also same. Young's modulus for all the member is same. So L upon A is the constant which is taken outside. So we are required only to multiply P into K. So P into K values have been noted down in our fourth column. By taking the summation, it is equals to 99.97, that is equals to 100, and substituting the value of L, A and E in the deflection equation, we find that the deflection delta C equals to 1.99 mm. Now let us solve the another one problem where the stresses are the given forces. So this problem states that the member of a wagon girder as shown in the figure are so proportioned that all the members are stressed to 100 Newton per mm square when a vertical load of 60 kilonewton is applied at L1. If Young's modulus is equals to 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square, Find the vertical deflection or vertical displacement for level L2. So this is the stress given and we are required to calculate the deflection at the joint L2. So the lower chord joint L2. So angles are given, lengths are given, so it will be easy for us to take the resolutions of the forces. So for the 60 kilonewton force, the stress is given as 100 Newton per mm square. So stress is given, so we require to calculate the force, that is P force. Since the members have been so proportional that the stress P upon A is equals to 100 Newton per mm square for all the members. So force are marked to identify the nature of P by A. So the column in the table 4.6 is filled up with the tensions as positive and compressions as the negative. So in this problem, stress is given, that is 100 Newton per mm square for all the members. So P upon A is nothing but the force and the values have been tabulated in the table over here. So P upon A is in Newton per mm square is shown. So negative values represent if those are the compressions and positive represents it is a tensiles. Now by applying the unit load at the point L2. So by applying a 1 kilonewton force at the point L2 and calculating the member forces for all the members of the stresses, we find that by taking the moments and applying the equation of equilibrium, that is summation m and summation v equals to 0, the reactions at the joints L0 and L3 is found to be 1 by 3 Newton and 2 by 3 Newton. So by using our method of joints, we will calculate the each member forces. So the member forces L0 U1 is equals to 0.384 and L0 L1 is 0.1925. In the same way, for each and every joint, we will be applying our equations of equilibrium and we calculate the member forces. So all the member forces are being calculated by using our method of joints and those are being tabulated in the table or in the third column. It's okay, in the Newton. So from the table we will have the value of Pk by A, that is equals to 384.91 and the vertical deflection at the point at the joint L1 is nothing but PKL upon AE. Since the length and Young's modulus is same, so it is taken outside. So we are left out only with PK by A. So the value is found to be 7.698 mm. So in this way we will be calculating the deflections for the stresses. So another stress over here is shown here. The actual change in the length that takes place in the various member of the stress under a given load P are shown in the figure. So changes in the members are being given. We are required to determine the deflection of the at the joint C. So this is the stress and the change in the length of the members for each and every member is shown. So now to solve this type of stresses, we have the equation, that is our change in the deflections delta equals to summation of PKL upon AE. So already PL upon AE values are given, that is change in the members, that is nothing but the strain, so it is represented by delta, and K is the force in the members due to the unit load applied at the joint. So by applying the unit load at the joint C, we will calculate the member forces for the 1 kilonewton force. So the reaction at the supports are 0.5 Newton, since it is a symmetrical in nature in terms of the truss and in terms of the load. And by using our method of joints, taking the equilibrium of each and every joint, we will be calculating the member forces. So the member forces AH is equals to 0.5 into root 2 and AB is equals to 0.5 Newton. In the same way for the joint B, joint H and joint G, it is been calculated, and the stress is symmetrical. So by using the symmetry of the stress, we will be noting down all the values of the other members also. So no required to calculate for each and every joint. If you analyze the stress only for the half of the stress, that is, if you calculate the values for the joints A, H, B, G and C, we will be getting the values for the joints F, D and E by using the symmetry of the truss, and the values are being noted down in the tabular column over here. So the deflections delta, that is PL upon AE, which is already given in our question, it has been noted down for each and every members. The value of K, which we have calculated by using our method joints, it is been written over here. So by taking the multiplication of these two columns and taking the summation, we find that the total deflection at the joint C is equals to 8.993 mm. So in this way we will be analyzing the stresses by the unit load method. If we have any doubts in the analysis of the member forces, please refer the engineering mechanics, that is method of joints, for the analysis of the stresses, and note down the values according to the members and the nature of the forces. If the forces are tensile, then it is taken as positive. If the forces are compressive, then it is taken as negative. So please have the practice of the calculations and solve the problems. In the next video, we go for the deflation due to the lack of heat and temperature changes.